Well, it is time for me to begin taking apart a display board. This was the board, obviously too big to show here, that I had used at an event, and now I'm going to take everything apart and put it away in my storage system. So there's a lot of fun things on here. These are a bunch of animal cards. I love doing things with natural looking animals. I live in North America and we don't have pandas, but still it's kind of fun to get animals that may not be native to my area. I've separated out the set of cards into two piles because they actually came from two different stamp sets. Personally, I love stamp sets with natural looking animals. They are especially good for masculine cards, and I know that some people tell me that they struggle with making masculine cards, and going with a natural looking animal is a great way to turn something into less frilly, less flowery, less feminine. So the first set is called Wild and Sweet. This one, because Stampin' Up! Is a company that covers multiple different continents, we have panda, we have a koala, and then we have a raccoon. So here's a really cute card made in total neutrals, just with the koala. And I did not make all of these cards, and many of them are ones that I actually got as trade cards. This one is all neutrals with a little bit of an interest stamped behind, the sentiment stamped down here, a couple of dark colored rhinestones. Actually, did you know you can color our rhinestones with the Sharpie markers or with our alcohol markers? So you could use our black blends to color these black, or if you were using colors, you could put any color you wanted on the rhinestones. Now, the person who made this stamped the image, but they took that line image and then they also went over it real lightly, probably with a watercolor pencil, although maybe with a water brush, to add a little bit of extra dark color just where the line image on the stamp actually has some darker color. And this one was stamped on the inside. This was made by my friend Lori Verdon. So for this one uses the raccoon. Person who made this one, again, this was not made by me, used an embossing folder back here to add some floral detail to the background, and then highlighted the raccoon as though it were a picture and used a set of dies that made picture tab corners. But again, this is the line image stamped, and then come back probably again with watercolor pencils to color it in and give some green to the grass and a little bit of color to the raccoon. There's no, oops, this was made by Kathleen Chapman. This is, again, another trade card that I got. Person used some stitched dies for the framing back here. We had a stamp that did a bamboo, and then she just added the panda sitting up in the branches of the tree. And the inside is stamped on this one as well. This one was made by Shelley Gruber. So, and again, just go back and add a little bit of color, just a little bit of color to the line image. Now, person who made this one used the same embossing folder that you saw on the other one, and again, stamp the line image, and then come back and add a little bit of color. From the looks of it on here, it looks like it was watercolored. This was made by Tina Patko, and there's that same bamboo set that you saw there, and then a little bit of linen thread down here and some hardware. And then this is one that I actually made, and to get the color on this panda, I did it quite differently. This is a piece of vellum, and then the vellum is stamped and heat embossed. I don't know if you can see the shine on there. And then I came back with my stylus and just rubbed really hard in the parts that are supposed to be white on the panda, because when you rub really hard on vellum, it changes the visual properties of the vellum, and then it turns it into white. So this is a quick set of cards made with the Wild and Sweet. This is made with Wildlife Wonder, which has a bear, an owl, and a wolf. And then, don't you love this sentiment? I mean, not the words, but the way that it's presented. I love sentiments that have block letters and then a nice scripty letter. So this one is for all the great things you do, a note of thanks, birthday to a great guy, you mean so much to me. The other one didn't have any sentiments. But this one, this is one I did make. I sent it through the embossing folder, but I inked the embossing folder before I sent my paper through, so that really highlighted a lot of the texture. And then this is the decal die around the outside. Oh, and look at that. My little embellishments are coming loose. I'll have to fix that. This is an interesting layout down here, but this is a piece of designer paper in the background to add some interest, and then just some blocks of color, and then just a stamp. So there's not even any coloring done on the stamp. This one was the bear. Who did this one? Let's see if I can give credit. This was made by Carla Bossler. again, I do a bunch of demo trades, so I get a bunch of cards from other people. Designer paper in the background, stamp the sentiment, fussy cut the sentiment, fussy cut a piece of paper for a frame behind it. But this person stamped the bear on colored paper, so that's how they got the color, and then fussy cut the bear. And then you'll notice in this one, this is really fun. This stamp set, in addition to the animals, also has a piece that stamps the ground and a piece that stamps a little bit of foliage. So this person gave a couple of stamps for the ground the bear's on, and then added some foliage in there. And this one was made by Nancy Stipich. And she fussy cut the bear, of course. There's no die that goes with this set. This person just used the face of the bear. And again, this stamp to get the background. And then I'm going to give it a second. See the light blue on here? 2 ways you can get that. I don't know if that even shows up on camera, because I'm looking down at my cell phone as I'm taking this, and I'm not sure it actually does show up. But there's just a real, almost like a block, but not quite, of blue behind it. 2 ways to get that. You could take a water brush and brush on across it. The other thing that you could actually do is you could take your stamp, your stamp block, and you could put the block itself down into an ink pad and then put the block on the paper, and you would get a splotch, an uneven splotch of color in the background. And then this person added designer paper and, let's see. Oh, this is just a card front by, again, Carla Bossler. And then this person, this is really cool. So this one, I think this was made by Cindy Garby. So she used this little stamp on the inside, because it's always nice to add some interest to the inside of the card. But what she did, we've got a die that does this cutting of the trees. So she die cut the trees, and she punched a circle back here to be the moon, and added her sentiment up on top. But she stuck that bear. She fussy cut the bear just like on that other one we saw. And actually, I think she stamped this and then fussy cut the ground as well, and then stuck that bear underneath the tree. Very creative, very inventive. So there's lots of fun things that you can do with these 2 stamp sets. And if you are interested in either of these, I will put direct links to the stamp sets in the comments, or up in the direction probably. And if you got any questions about any of the cards that you saw in here, shoot me a message, because I'm happy to answer how any of them were made.